So, good morning, pretty people. So, I am out the house. People are still asleep. Um, just thought I'd come on here and just basically have a story time and just kind of tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Mika. I am a wife and a mother. And essentially, I have 5 children. I have 3 bonus babies and 2 that I birthed. When my husband, who was not my husband at the time when we met, essentially got together, I had one, and I had 1 child, and he had 3. And then we have a daughter together. Road hasn't been easy, because when you think about it, even as a married couple, you are basically trying to blend personalities, like how one person grew up. I grew up a certain way. My husband grew up a certain way. So not only are you trying to merge those things in a marriage, you start to add children to it that, they're coming from different experiences. And so that used to be, part of the big challenge when we first started out. But over the years, what I've learned is to, you have to get to know each kid individually, just like you would, any kid you birthed it yourself. And, one thing that I've always said is that children didn't ask to be here, so you can't fault them. They're learning the world, more so than what you are. And one thing that I always tell my bonus children, in any interaction that we've had, whether it was like a serious talk or, anything of that nature, I tell them that I'm not trying to replace their mother. I'm just another mother that loves them. So they see it as an addition and not that I'm trying to replace something, because, I can never replace their mother. That's who birthed them. Okay, that's better. And, like I said, when we originally met, it was like 18 years ago. Yeah, a long time. I know. I was a single mom, had moved to a major city, and, I was by myself, essentially, trying to raise a son. And I met my husband, who was not my husband at the time, and it just, he really clicked with my son. And, we started to date, and, as we began to date, I started to meet his children, and it started off with one of our sons. And I remember like being at my husband's relative's house, and he was coming for a visit, and when he got to the top of the stairs, he was just so ecstatic to see his dad. And I thought, wow, this man must be a good father for, to see that type of interaction with his son. Like, he was so happy to see him. And so, that was very appealing to me, as a single mom, and just very intriguing. And then as time went on, his other two children came for a visit and they stayed with us. And, we just had a good time, and we were parents. Something that I've learned along the way is that, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of just, really concentrating on what's the best thing, or what you perceive to be the best thing, and it doesn't come without mistakes, just like everything else in life. And I remember, us spending time with each other, and just me trying to be very diligent about, when we would get our youngest son, like for the weekend, trying to make sure that he felt welcome. And so, like, if I bought, if one kid had a Spider-Man bed, and then the other one got a Batman bed, and, just things like that, and we would, do family time and, spend time together, might go out, with the kids and just have a family day. That is something that I really miss as my kids have gotten older, because they're out exploring the world, and some of them live in different states now. So, that is a challenge in a blended family, but it, probably is, as well in a regular family, because, your kids get older, they decide they want to, branch out and go explore the world. And so you just got to be supportive and, try to chime in as often as you can. That is a good spot. Anyway, and some of the things that I've also learned is that it's not going to happen overnight. It's like any other relationship. You got to work at it and build up on it. You got to build trust and be authentic. And one thing that I've tried to focus on a lot is just what is best for our family, because not only, does, the child-parent relationship take effect, but also the siblings. Like, even though my siblings, my children's siblings didn't live with us, we treat, those are still your siblings. They're still your brother, they're still your sister. And I remember when my kids were younger, and say they would go to school and draw their family tree, they would include them in their family tree, which I thought was awesome. As time has gone on, like I said early on, it was about learning. And then once we got to that part, I could interact with my bonus kids' mothers, and then my husband could interact with my son's father. Even to the point where I remember my son's father buying my husband something for his birthday, which I thought was very thoughtful, because it's nothing you have to do, but it's something that's certainly appreciated. And, when my son graduated from high school, they were all in pictures together. So, I just feel like you try to create as much of a safe space for children as you can, because this world is already harsh enough. So why do we got to add to it, The other thing is, just like I said, being open. Like I said, it's one of those things where it is a challenge, because sometimes people have in their minds that, just because you're not with that person, that you can't be a part of your kid's life. And I totally disagree with that. You can, you know what I'm saying? And you have to be careful. You have to be careful of like how, what other people's interpretation of that is, because sometimes people take it as, if you can't be with me, then you can't be with our kid, and that's not right. Just because it doesn't work out on a relationship level between two partners doesn't mean that you have to hold the kids relationship hostage. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned too, is that children will see when they get older, they start to realize things, and they start to see for themselves kind of what the setup is. So you don't even have to say anything, which I felt like was gonna have to be what it was. I always told my children, or in general, my belief was that I'm not going to talk bad about your dad in front of you, because that's half you. So why am I going to talk badly about your dad and make you feel some type of way for things you weren't responsible for? So I really tried to stick to that, and just tried to proceed, spin it in a positive light. Okay, y'all, I'm back in the car. So what I was saying is just kind of what my story was when it came to starting Blended by the Best. Just because I know there are some challenges when you have a blended family. Like I said, you trying to intermingle a bunch of different personalities, experiences all into one, and just trying to have a happy home. And it could be a challenge because, there's enough challenge even when it just comes to you and your mate, and then, your children's personalities that you birth, but then adding, bonus personalities in the mix. But it could be done. I think if you are authentic and you just are honest, and the kids will feel it. Like I said, some of our children are in different states. They're older, so that becomes a challenge with still trying to maintain a relationship and, and still know them as they're growing into young adulthood. So, it still comes with that, hey, mom and dad, my car's broke, could you cash out me some money? So, not missing out on being a parent by any means. Also, one of the things that I think I've learned along the way is that, like I was saying, your kids, like the kids that are in the home, they can feel, the absence of their siblings sometimes. So you have to really take that into account as well. And just try to, provide a space where they could reach out to their siblings without you, to maintain that relationship, because they miss them, just as much as parents miss kids. So, just some little things I've learned, things I've learned from and being a bonus mom. And even with that, it's taught me, me being a bonus mom in my equation has taught me how to, has helped me in my approach with my son's father. I consider us really good friends, and supportive of one another. It didn't always used to be that way, but that's something that we have grown into as we co-parent, even our son. And so, what it's taught me is, the approach, the approach essentially when it comes to, my husband, in his situation, and being a person on the front lines of that, and then looking at how I could better communicate with my son's father. So, the fact that we're just blended on both sides of our family has really shown and given me a different perspective, even as a mother in a similar situation. So I'm headed back to the house, essentially, so I can cook Sunday dinner. But I know I got to go to the grocery store, so I need to go home and look in my pantry and see what all I need and make me a list before I make it to the grocery store. So I will see you guys later.